Tonight, why some seasonal shoppers are scaling back. How high costs are darkening holiday spirits.
The prices have gone up so much.
Everything is more expensive.
And what you can do to make sure this festive season is merry and bright. Muddled math on the brink of a crucial budget showdown.
In fact, over the 5-year horizon, the operating budget would not be balanced at all.
Why some say the numbers don't add up. And a smartphone scam alert.
And it makes sense. They text a lot.
You might be surprised who is most at risk.
CTV National News with Heather Butts.
Good evening. Canadians are facing a different retail reality as we head into the holiday season. Enduring tough economic times, many are shifting their spending habits. A new survey suggests shoppers plan to spend less as a result of tariff concerns. CTV's John Venevalley-Rao on where you might also be feeling the squeeze.
At Toronto's Eaton Centre, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. And with the holiday season fast approaching, some shoppers already crossing names off their list.
We're just getting ready. We already have our trees up. We're doing some shopping today. We're going to hit some other malls as well and do some shopping.
And the survey offering a snapshot of how Canadians plan to spend amid worries about tariffs, the job market, and inflation.
I think things are really expensive right now, so I'm probably going to be cutting back a little bit this year or budgeting well or just making sure I'm buying things on like Black Friday.
The survey by BMO finding 41% plan to cut back on holiday spending and 15% budgeting to shell out more on gifts, anticipating higher prices due to tariffs.
It is concerning that, everything is more expensive.
Some said they plan to buy more Canadian-made products to avoid tariffs, while a quarter said they started shopping early to avoid potential tariff-related price increases. And respondents on average plan to spend $2,300, which includes travel and food.
There's this general concern from Canadians of just maybe needing to be really fiscally responsible over the holidays because there's still a little bit of uncertainty of where things are headed next year.
As for where Canadians may cut spending, holiday decorations, travel, and dining out were top items.
I'm finding the prices have gone up so much, just even food. So I think this year definitely spending a lot less on presents in general.
A separate survey recently found more than half of Canadians feel anxious about affording the holidays, and 61% don't feel financially prepared for them.
Meanwhile, a quarter of those surveyed by BMO said they plan to cut back on the number of people on their holiday gift list. John Venevalley-Rao, CTV News, Toronto.
A sharp reverse course south of the border, President Donald Trump has lowered tariffs on a wide range of food products as affordability concerns grow. The executive order, set retroactively, lowers tariffs on tomatoes, coffee, bananas, and beef, among other agricultural products. Trump has faced mounting pressure around affordability as American consumers face higher grocery prices that economists say have been fueled in part by import tariffs.
The foods, when we cut back a little bit on those tariffs, we'll get the price down, but they're not competitive in this country, like tomatoes and bananas and things. We don't make them in this country, so there's no protection of our industries.
What we're continuing to see is Donald Trump now coming under intense, increasing political pressure from within his own base. In fact, his approval rating among Republicans is down now more than 20 points. And a lot of that has to do with sky-high record inflation that is continuing to damper the MAGA base. And the question now becomes, can we get more? And does this actually is this the beginning of the end for the president and many of these tariffs that have had a stranglehold on the economy?
It's unclear at this time exactly what the impact of the reversal will be on the Canadian beef industry. Just 3 days before MPs cast their vote on the Liberal budget, a parliamentary watchdog is throwing cold water on the government's accounting and its promise to meet its own deficit targets. CTV's senior correspondent Judy Trin takes a closer look at the numbers.
Budget 2025 comes with a whopping $78 billion deficit. Parliament's budget watchdog says that digging out of the hole will be harder than the Liberal government is letting on.
We think that the definition the government's used around capital investments is overly expensive. And in particular, they've thrown some things in there, some categories of spending, which other jurisdictions in other countries would not typically include.
Under Mark Carney, the budget is split into operational costs, day-to-day expenses like the salaries of public servants, versus capital investments, such as long-term funding for major projects.
The United States has changed. That's their right. We must respond. That is our imperative. And the budget builds Canada strong by focusing on what we can control.
Despite the record deficit, the finance minister says the government will balance the operating side in 3 years and shrink the deficit to GDP ratio starting next year.
100% of our MPs opposed the costly Carney credit card budget.
The government's categorization of $311 billion in capital investments is significantly higher than the watchdog's number of $217 billion. It's a difference of $94 billion that the budget officer says should be added to operational costs, making it less likely for the government to balance that side of the ledger.
In fact, over the 5-year horizon, the operating budget would not be balanced at all.
The budget watchdog is recommending that an independent expert panel determine what exactly is a capital investment, given how subjective the definition can be. Meanwhile, on Monday, parliamentarians return for another confidence vote on the budget. Heather.
Judy Trin in Ottawa, thank you. Rideau Hall says Governor General Mary Simon was released from hospital today and is now recovering at home. The 78-year-old missed the annual Remembrance Day service in Ottawa on Tuesday after being hospitalized with a respiratory illness. Simon is expected to return to her regular duties in due course. Prime Minister Mark Carney was touting the newly announced major projects again today after unveiling the second batch yesterday in British Columbia. As the development plans sink in, the criticism is beginning to surface. CTV's Jeremy Sharon in Ottawa now on Carney's big pitch and the reaction to it. Jeremy.
Heather, it's these kinds of so-called transformational projects that are crucial to achieving the government's goal of increasing exports and diversifying markets. That's the big pitch. And today, that message was directed at Quebec residents. Prime Minister Mark Carney opening Phase 2 of the REM light rail system in Montreal on the heels of yesterday's major projects announcement, which he touted again today.
These are projects that will connect, diversify, and propel forward our economy. Projects that will help us expand our exports to new partners. Projects that will create hundreds of thousands of good, paying union jobs for Canadian workers.
About a dozen projects have now been referred to the Major Projects Office, all in different stages of the development process, but so far none have received the official designation, which could then allow the government to take further steps and fast-track approvals. The office, according to the government, aims to streamline the process and help get projects to the finish line, but it does not guarantee they'll move ahead. Meanwhile, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre says Carney's government is too slow to approve and build, calling this office just another bureaucratic hurdle, accusing Carney of just showing up and taking credit for things that were already going to happen. Heather?
CTV's Jeremy Sharon for us in Ottawa tonight. Among the new so-called nation-building projects is the Sisson mine site in New Brunswick. Mark Carney said the mine will produce tungsten and position Canada as a reliable supplier for steel manufacturing, defense and protective equipment. But as CTV's Sarah Plowman reports, reaction has so far been mixed.
Less than an hour northwest of Fredericton is an area that holds critical minerals and to some, a lot of potential.
The Sisson mine in New Brunswick will produce tungsten, the strongest metal in the world.
The project has already been approved, subject to conditions, but has been stalled for years. It's regained momentum now that it's received millions from Canada and the U.S., and yesterday the Prime Minister deemed it a nation-building project. But some who live nearby are concerned.
I think it's no good.
Why is that?
Well, it's just going to destroy the water, it's going to destroy their streams, and it's going to destroy our wildlife.
Brett Hood sees things differently. He grew up in the area and has spent a lot of time at a mine in Ontario.
I think with, proper precautions, a mine is a great project for local areas.
Premier Susan Holt has touted the hundreds of jobs the mine will create, jobs the mayor of nearby Nakawik Millville hopes will help his community grow.
This is the ideal situation for us.
The bulk of the world's tungsten is mined in China. Geologists point out what's in New Brunswick is significant.
We know it as the largest tungsten resource in the Western world.
But an environmental group dedicated to conserving the Nashwauk ecosystem opposes the project and argues New Brunswick should require the company Northcliffe Resources to do a new environmental impact assessment. Peter Toner also says the quality of the ore deposit is low, which generates a lot of waste.
That waste has to be stored in a massive tailing storage facility, and that tailing storage facility, because of its scope and size, is that much more subject to a remote but potential environmental disaster.
Northcliffe Resources still has to meet several conditions set by the province in its environmental impact assessment. Today, the company says it was granted a 5-year extension to start construction, but the CEO has told CTV News the aim is to start construction by 2027. Heather.
Sarah, thank you. The U.S. Department of Justice has confirmed it will investigate alleged links between convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein and high-profile Democrats. U.S. President Donald Trump directed the Department of Justice and the FBI to investigate Epstein's ties to former U.S. President Bill Clinton, former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers, LinkedIn founder Reid Hoffman, and major bank J.P. Morgan Chase. It comes just days after the release of thousands of Epstein documents, some mentioning President Trump. The president also wrote the Democrats are trying to bring up the Jeffrey Epstein hoax again because they'll do anything to deflect on how badly they've done on the shutdown and many other subjects. Only a very bad or stupid Republican would fall into that trap. Several people have been killed and injured after a bus crashed into a group of people lined up at a bus stop in Stockholm today.
I just feel for the victims' families. I mean, they're just waiting to get on their bus home, and then that will be
the last thing.
Yeah, it's just so surreal.
According to police, the incident happened during afternoon rush hour. As a matter of protocol, the bus driver has been arrested and a manslaughter investigation has been opened. The cause is unknown. Ontario's controversial speed camera ban is now in effect, ending a program experts say effectively slows traffic, while the province's premier has called it a tax grab.
Can't understand why any elected official would think that playing games with children's safety is acceptable. It's not.
This has been used as a revenue generation tool when it shouldn't have been, and that's why we've stepped up.
The province has promised $210 million to support other safety measures like speed bumps, raised sidewalks, more signage and roundabouts. Protesters echoing sentiments from city mayors and experts who have called the move a setback for road safety in the province. A Montreal woman is sharing her nightmare after biking through what she thought was a puddle, only to be sent to the hospital with serious injuries to her face. The frightening moment captured on video. Darlene Demchuk is seen approaching what looks like a puddle, only to fall into an uncovered construction pit while trying to avoid cycling into traffic. The impact breaking her nose and requiring immediate facial reconstruction surgery.
The fact that I could just ride my bike into that hole tells me that it wasn't properly secured.
Soon after, Demchuk returned, measuring the depth of the pit with a 10-foot pole to show the dangers of leaving the area uncovered. Excruciating ER wait times are a persistent challenge at hospitals across the country. Here's CTV's Alex Carpa with one woman's ordeal at a Winnipeg facility and the potential consequences delays are having on patient outcomes.
July 3rd, 2025 was a day Lori Statina will never forget.
I needed to come to the hospital.
Statina was in a lot of pain. She was taken in an ambulance to the Grace Hospital in Winnipeg, where despite telling the triage nurse she was in pain, she waited and waited.
I was fearing for my life.
Her pain was getting worse, and after around 20 hours, she was admitted. Only then she found out she had been suffering from a mild heart attack and her bowel was perforated, and she was taken in for emergency surgery.
I didn't even know what I was having surgery for, and they put me out, and I woke up to having 19 staples from basically the top of here all the way straight down.
The Winnipeg Regional Health Authority in a statement said they recognize the challenges patients and staff continue to face in emergency rooms and are working to improve patient flow and reduce wait times.
Long wait times
definitely lead to poor patient outcomes.
Emergency physician Dr. Noam Cates says wait times have ballooned dramatically over the last few years, and this, he says, makes it difficult to do his job and give patients the care they need.
We desperately want to be able to get people into appropriate treatment spaces.
Health advocates say stories like Statina's are happening all too often at hospitals right across the country and want to see change to prevent incidents like this from happening in the future.
Hopefully we can move more towards a preventative model that people get the care early so that they can avoid the emergency room and hopefully reduce the kind of stresses that we have on their system.
I'm afraid.
As for Statina, she said she's sharing her story because she wants to see change within the healthcare system so others don't have to endure the same pain she did. Alex Carpa, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Coming up, easy targets.
Scammers are trying to rip off young adults.
Why Gen Z is being targeted and what to watch out for. More unwanted text messages from unknown numbers are popping up on our phones every day. A new survey revealed texting scams have jumped 50% in the past year. Here's CTV's Pat Foran on the hardest hit age group.
Many of us are bombarded with fake texts on a daily basis. It could be a message that looks like it's from your bank or a bogus delivery from Canada Post. And if you think you're getting more unsolicited texts and messages, you're right. A new Consumer Reports Cyber Readiness Report finds text scam attempts are up by 50%. And it might surprise you, they're growing the fastest among Gen Zers.
Scammers are trying to rip off young adults.
18 to 29-year-olds are getting scammed at record levels, and reports of text scam attempts from Gen Zers tripled.
And it makes sense. They text a lot. It's a primary form of communication, and they have instant access to money on their phone.
The survey also found lower-income households were 3 times as likely to lose money from scams. One way to try and protect yourself is to make payments using a credit card.
Credit cards are safer than many other payment methods because you have a right to request a chargeback when fraudulent transactions occur. Consumers who do not use credit cards have fewer rights to dispute fraud when it occurs.
Other ways to protect yourself: don't reply to random or unsolicited texts. Responding confirms your number is active, so fraudsters might keep bugging you or sell your number. Instead, block the number and mark it as spam. Next, cut down on text spam before it reaches you. Check with your phone carrier. Most offer free tools to filter or block unwanted messages. Also, watch out for phishing scams. Be suspicious of requests for personal information from text, emails, or messaging apps. If the message seems urgent or time-sensitive, that's another red flag. Finally, when shopping online, use a credit card. Other payment options may not offer the same protections. Pat Foran, CTV News.
Still ahead, how a crafty seal evaded certain death. Crews off Newfoundland's west coast are on a mission to salvage and secure debris from a shipwreck. CTV's Garrett Barry on the challenging ocean operation.
Months of battering waves are taking their toll on the Mediterranean shipping company's Baltic 3. This week, salvage crews with the Canadian Coast Guard found increased structural damage inside the ship. It's now more at risk of breaking apart completely.
During the storm, you could see the vessel move almost independently. The stern was moving up and down and the bow a different way, and it caused more pronounced buckling at the side.
The Swiss company's cargo ship has been stuck near Lark Harbor on the west coast of Newfoundland for months, ran roughly into the ground after the boat lost power in a storm in February. It was carrying cargo from Montreal to Corner Brook. A dramatic helicopter rescue saved all 20 of the crew. For 9 months now, Coast Guard workers and contractors have been cleaning up the boat and the fuel.
Normally these vessels are designed to be at sea, so we don't necessarily design them to be the way that this thing is behaving.
Naval architecture instructor Winston Pinn says it's a testament to the boat's design that it's lasted so long aground, but the job of the Coast Guard is getting harder as the boat disintegrates.
Salvage crews aren't going to try to move the boat
until sometime next spring. It's sure to be a long process. They may even have to cut it up into pieces. For now, they're going to try to make the boat heavier. They're going to pump some more water into some sections of the boat in an attempt to stabilize it where it is for the winter months. Damage to the boat means officials have to reevaluate which areas are safe to access inside the vessel. That evaluation is set to happen next week. Garrett Berry, CTV News, St. John's.
A harrowing and narrow escape for a crafty seal caught on camera.
Oh my God. Oh, you poor thing. I'm shaking right now.
The seal was being hunted by a pod of orcas when it climbed onto a boat to avoid being eaten off the coast of Washington state. A photographer on board says after around 20 minutes, the group of killer whales gave up the hunt and the seal was able to safely disembark and swim away. Still ahead tonight, the big assist that gave some pint-sized players a slice of hockey heaven. Some young hockey players scored the chance to live out their childhood dream today on one of the biggest stages in the country. Here's CTV's Sean Leathong on the event aimed at breaking barriers.
Little kids on the biggest stage.
It's just like crazy that this is like my dream of doing.
Today at Scotiabank Arena, kids from 5 local minor hockey associations got a chance to play on the same ice as the Toronto Maple Leafs use.
Fun, magical, and my dream came true today.
It's part of the Big Assist from the company Kruger, where 5 local organizations will each get $25,000 to help remove barriers for kids to play hockey. Some of the children as young as 6 got to enjoy things like
skating, about the jumping over the blue lines, yeah.
And they got a chance to work up close with one of the greatest to ever lace up a pair of skates.
Haley Wickenheiser signing my jersey and a card of her.
When I was 9-10 years old, if I would have had a chance to skate on NHL ice, I would have thought I died and gone to heaven.
Multiple Olympic gold medalist, former professional, and current member of the Leafs coaching staff, Haley Wickenheiser, was one of the celebrity coaches.
Coming back to work with kids reminds me of why I love the game.
And falling in love with the game to these coaches and players is the most important skill to learn.
If you can get them to believe that they can achieve something, they're just going to love it more, they're going to want to do it more often, they're going to invest more of their time.
It's the best day of my life.
For some, today might be the beginning of a career that could end up right back where it started. Sean Leathong, CTV News.
Chase those dreams. That's our newscast for this Friday night. Thank you for watching. Good night, and I'll see you again tomorrow.
CTV National News, Canada's #1 newscast.